Greetings, I'm Charles, I'm 54 years old, I'm 6'1" when I'm fully assembled and weigh about 230 pounds in my last weigh-in. Today I'm going to talk about preventing or repairing cracked hands. As I'm recording this, we're right at the end of October. There's kind of a brisk breeze in the air and the cold, dry winter weather is going to be coming along, and as that comes along, at least for me, I often will have my hands dry out and get some nasty cracking, which is painful. And I want to show you what I do to help prevent that, and when it does happen, or if it does happen, how to kind of repair that damage in pretty quick time. Alrighty, now normally I take care of my dry skin throughout the year when I have dry hands or just dry spots on my skin. I use almond extract. That'd be a cold pressed, and I know there's another technical word for it, but I can't recall it right now. And my understanding is, I was told by a physician years and years ago that almond oil is actually the closest thing to human body oils as there is out there. I know a lot of people like to use coconut oil and other things of that nature. But one of the things I've discovered with the almond oil is that it does absorb into the skin very quickly. I could put almond oil on a sunburn and it takes care of that, but I could put almond oil on a sunburn. 10 minutes later I can put my shirt on. And it's not sticky or tacky or anything like that. So it kind of absorbs in the skin nicely, and it's not too much of a mess as far as oils go. Now, once I get to a point where my hands are starting to get really dry, well, of course I want to prevent that drying and cracking, because as I'm driving a wheelchair, I have to use my hands, and of course that could be very, very painful. So we want to avoid that or prevent that. But if it does happen, and I do get some cracks in my skins, on my fingers, or my hands, I use a comfrey, which is this stuff right here. It just came in a little itty bitty deal. You look at that and go, and prices of these, and think, wow, man, that's really expensive. But if you just dip your finger in it and cover your finger and spread it around on your hands, this stuff goes a long, long way. So what I actually do is once I get a crack, or I've noticed I've determined that I've developed a crack in my skin or my hands, I will use apple cider vinegar to put in the wound. If I have a cracked finger, I just put it in a little cup and dip my finger in there. Dry it off with a paper towel, let it just dry. Don't want to blow on it or anything, because you don't want to get any extra germs on an open wound. And then I'll put just a tiny bit of this comfrey on there, and this cream, and just spread it over my hands really well. And amazingly enough, I've had these things completely heal up. You can't even tell within 3 days sometimes. Oftentimes it takes longer than that. But the apple cider vinegar is really good at killing germs, and it doesn't sting as bad as alcohol. At least it has been my experience. It doesn't sting as bad as alcohol. Now this comfrey has basically got a beeswax base to it. This is the type I have is rose comfrey cream is what it's called, and the reason it's rose is because that was the only flavor available when I needed it, when I bought it the first time. But the ingredients are grapeseed oil, roses, comfrey, calendula, beeswax, arnica, vitamin E. Now, about half of those things I don't have any idea what they are, but they sure have worked well for me. Now, my first line of defense, of course, is I wear gloves, especially when I'm going outside. So at this point, I almost never get cracking in the palms of my hands or within the glove covers. It's virtually always in my fingers that aren't covered is where I get the cracking now. But when the cracking does happen, it certainly slows down. You can heal it up. It'll just make life easier all the way around. And for me, this is a combination between the apple cider vinegar and this rose comfrey. It has been a very good combination for keeping my hands crack-free and repairing them once they do get a crack. So hopefully that was useful for you.